Hi, and welcome to this week's solo episode of the Guest List podcast with me, your host, Steve Guest. It's very early on a Thursday morning. I've got especially to get this podcast done and out there after an extremely hectic week. And every couple of weeks when I do the solo podcast, I sit there and think, okay, what's happened this week? What's the discussion points? What are the areas that I really want to share with all of you that listen in and tune in? And I think something that's come about certainly over the last few weeks that has been more of a talking point has been the idea of going out there and adding genuine value. It's a statement that's bandied about quite a lot. Certainly in recruitment, we all talk about adding value and creating value for our customers, whether that be clients and candidates. And I suppose the point I want to get across today is, do we genuinely add value, or do we just talk about it and actually really just go out there and achieve what everyone else goes out to achieve? Some will do better than others, of course, but quite often we'll take that as the fact that we're adding the value because we're successful at what we do. And I've had a kind of look around, some research on the internet just to see what is out there when you Google how do you add genuine value. And there's lots of statements. There's conversations around the fact that you could work faster, so you could achieve the solutions to your clients and candidates quicker than anybody else. As recruitment consultants, we often pick up vacancies or requirements that have been on the market for a long time, clients struggling to fill the role, and people haven't fulfilled the needs of that client. And we pick the role up and we can hopefully fill the position in a much faster time. And then there's a perceived view to the client that we've added value because we've done something faster or better than the previous recruiters have had but didn't fulfill. There's the idea of offering better quality. So do we sit there and review the product or service that we do? Do we look at the whole process and say, can we do this better? What are we missing? What are we not doing that perhaps our competitors are doing? Can we add better quality for the same price, which means our clients get a better service or product when comparing our competitors, but actually we over deliver in terms of the service and the general conduct of what we do. Adding value. If you think in terms of the market as a whole, now I don't know as listeners whether you're all recruiters, whether you're from different markets or sectors, but if we genuinely look at what our competitors do, are we offering the same thing? Because if we're offering the same thing, then that becomes the basic or the minimum expectation of clients and candidates or customers. We have to sit there and think, what additional things can we deliver upon to add value that's over and above what everybody else does? Quite often, in my experience, going back to basics and just looking at things in terms of its complete simplicity can actually add real value. When I think about when I first started in recruitment, the very simple thing that to me and my market added value was that I broke down what was going wrong with the recruitment service that the clients were achieving. And I looked at all the pain points and I could then understand what I've got to do to improve on the service or the quality or the value that they were receiving from everyone else that had been before me. And if I think back to those times, it was things like not following up on calls, never hearing back after going through a vacancy, consultants not ringing on time or not doing what they said they were going to go out and do. So just looking at things in a simplistic way can improve the quality of what you do and genuinely add value back to the market. And I would say as humans, we tend to often overcomplicate things because we want things to look as if we're doing more. And we add so many elements to it that actually we start to get the basics wrong. And that's where quite often things can fall down. So my first piece of advice would be to look at the whole process, find out from your customers, your clients and candidates what's going wrong and put that right. I think in terms of adding value, can you increase the convenience? So everything about the current era is about instant gratification. There's lots of things that are being added into the world and the marketplaces that improve convenience. Fast food is obviously a good example, the rise of the fast food, becoming a one-stop shop where a client can make one phone call to one person, but that one person can sort a variety of solutions, is an element of convenience. The ability to offer exclusivity and retained assignments is a way of offering convenience, because the client can have the conversation, the person or the customer can have that one conversation, and you can go away and hopefully deliver upon that. Another area to add real value is just genuine customer service, being authentic and humble in yourself, being honest and hardworking, and go out to ensure that you deliver upon the service or the product that that person wants, but actually going back into the process and genuinely asking for feedback from clients and candidates and customers. How was the process for you? Was there anything I didn't do that you thought you would get? Where and what did I do that perhaps didn't meet your expectation? What could I do to improve? What are my competitors doing that I'm not doing? What did I do well? What would you like to see? What would you say is the perfect recruitment process? And start to really understand what your market is saying back to you that will allow you to add better value to the service or product that you deliver upon. Simple things like when you make a placement, do you send a congratulations card, a bunch of flowers, a box of chocolates, a bottle of wine, whatever it might be? Do you fulfill the aftercare part of the service? Are you checking in on a placement and ensuring that they're happy where they are 4 weeks in, and just trying to iron out any teething problems they may have to ensure that it's a long-lasting placement and both client and candidate are happy? Do you go out of your way to make sure they feel valued as both customer? I think for me, all of those are a given. And I think quite often we get so distracted by achieving the results, the KPIs, the targets. It's all about the continual movement and fast pace of the environments we live in, that we actually forget to review how we work and what we do. And I think just taking a little bit of time, such as the podcast the other week where we talked about self-assessment and revaluation, the ability to do that and really look at areas that you can improve and add genuine value will actually make you become a better person, a better consultant, and offer a better service or product in the long run. I think I also wanted to talk to you, which is under the same banner, in terms of going out there and delivering on something that I suppose in essence doesn't have a monetary return, and you go into it with no real expectation of anything coming back to you. I remember 15, 16 years ago, when I first started in recruitment, I started to forge links with lecturers at local colleges. I recruited for commercial construction staff, so I was doing a lot with graduates and looking to get graduates into employment. And my initial thought was, if I can go to the local colleges, I can talk to the graduates that were graduating in my market, and I had almost a stream of potential students that I could put into positions. And what I found out was a lot of the universities had relationships with companies and contractors, so quite often they were placing the graduates directly into roles anyway. However, I still could see the benefit of not everybody gets a placement, and the students at the time, I think, always need support. They need reassurance. They need to know how to conduct themselves when they get outside of the education arena and start looking for that first employment. So I got involved with judging graduate end of year schemes. I was part of a panel. There was 3 or 4 people on there, and I thought it would be good to go in there and start mixing with students and lecturers and understanding how they work to be able to then potentially sell them into companies. From that, I then got meetings with actual construction companies that were part of the judging panel as well, because obviously they're doing things for the same or similar reasons. But how that relationship then moved on, I was going back in and I was doing interview practice and interview prep for students. I was helping them with their CV. I was helping support them in terms of that movement to that next role, whether they were going to be a placement through me or whether they got interviews with companies that I worked with. Ultimately, from a service and value point of view, I was helping them to get their next role. It was quite often quite hard work. It was days out of the office where I wasn't making sales calls and there wasn't necessarily a monetary return. But actually what it did start to do was it helped build a personal brand. It got me known in areas for doing over and above the expectation of a recruitment consultant to go and help people in the industry. Some of these graduates are now commercial managers 15 years on, and they've become very good clients. And some of them I've never placed. I've never made any monetary value from a sales perspective from them in terms of finding them a new role. But actually they've become really good clients because they could see from the start that I was going in to genuinely help people get that first role, that first rung on the ladder. And that's continued to kind of progress. I'm going out to meet lecturers next week, where the lecturers that I spoke to 15 years ago have moved colleges and universities, and I'm now forging links with new universities. And I'm going out there to give talks and help people that want to be helped. I've been into local education. I've gone back to schools. I've gone back to my old school and helped people where they aren't quite sure where they're heading and what they want to do. And I can perhaps help assess and give them some informed decisions. These things are coming from a place where I genuinely want to help people, but it does add value and it is linked to what I do. And I think quite often we miss the elements of adding value. We miss the parts that actually genuinely give us that good feeling inside that we're doing something to give back. And I think going out of our way, looking at the whole process and what we can do to add value isn't that far away. We just need to allow us that little bit of time where we can think about what we can do and how we can give a little bit back, how we can say our thank yous without necessarily saying thank you. I'm spending today in the job centre with 16 to 24-year-olds looking to get their first role, get into work. I'm genuinely looking forward to it because I can help guide, I can help offer advice, I can give support, and I'm confident that people will leave, having met me today, better informed and better equipped to go and get the role that they're looking to go for and make a career from. So I hope that's been useful. I want everyone that listens to this to genuinely think about what they get up and do every day and start to really consider how they can genuinely add value, stand out from the crowd, do something that little bit different, or make it so that it's in its simplistic forms, better quality. So go out there, add value. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and I look forward to catching up with you all soon. Take care. Bye.